Today I'm laying out Senate Bill 26, the first pillar of my Texas Teacher Bill of Rights and one of Governor Abbott's emergency priorities this session, one of Lieutenant Governor Patrick's highest priorities of the session. We all recognize the dedication of our Texas educators. Across every corner of our state and in every community, our educators commit their lives to shaping the next generation of Texans. It's time for us to match their dedication with real financial support and protections. Our teachers deserve more than words. They deserve action from this legislature. All of our communities and our future workforce depend upon it. Last week, Senate Bill 26 passed unanimously out of the Senate Education Committee, and now it's time for the full Senate to deliver for our Texas teachers. This bill builds upon the foundation we laid with Senate Bill 9 last session, a bill that passed this body with bipartisan support last session, and Senate Bill 26 now establishes a permanent allotment for our Texas teachers in the state budget. This allotment would be for teacher salaries, delivering historic pay raises that recognize both commitment and longevity in the classroom. Under this plan, teachers will receive guaranteed raises in their third year of teaching, with an even greater raise after their fifth year in the classroom. This will ensure that they don't just start strong, but they stay strong throughout their career. And as for educators in small and rural districts, we're providing targeted resources to close an existing pay gap that's held them back for way too long. To be clear, 80% of the dollars authorized by this historic amount of funding will go directly to raises for classroom teachers. This is not a one-time bump, bonus, or stipend. This is a permanent commitment in the state budget to elevate the teaching profession in Texas and to raise their salaries to be competitive compared to the services they provide for the Texans, the future Texans that will make up our entire workforce for this great state of Texas. The remaining 20% of the funding in this legislation expands the Teacher Incentive Allotment, TIA, because when educators go above and beyond, they deserve to be rewarded. In 2019, 300 teachers qualified for the Teacher Incentive Allotment Program. Today, there are over 30,000 participants, and that number has doubled just since last session. This bill would allow even more high-performing teachers to earn over $100,000 annually, setting a new national standard for classroom excellence. No other state in the nation has made a teacher pay commitment of this magnitude. This legislation is unprecedented in the amount of dollars that are assembled together to be deployed through Senate Bill 26. If we want to attract and retain the best educators, Texas must become the best place in America to teach. But the Texas Teacher Bill of Rights is not just about pay. This legislation also provides free pre-K services for the children of Texas educators, ensuring that no teacher has to choose between their career and their family's needs. Right now, teachers are charged for those services if pre-K exists in the district that they teach in. We're also creating, for the first time, a liability protection program for our Texas teachers that empowers teachers to be able to enforce discipline without fear of legal retaliation and to keep order and a reasonable learning environment in the classroom. And members, again, this is a package of bills that will prop up and support and strengthen our Texas teachers across this state. And just as Senator Perry is bringing soon a discipline bill for Texas public schools, we have many members on this floor that are bringing bills forward on behalf of our Texas teachers, truancy reform, many different types of improvements for the campuses across this state. Our teachers, and my point is in saying this, our teachers surveyed across this state list safety as the number one concern that they have for staying in the profession. Compensation is at the top of the list, but it's often third and sometimes fourth on these surveys, which means it's the highest of priorities. But having a safe learning environment for themselves as teachers and for their students is paramount. No teacher should have to choose between maintaining order and protecting themselves. This bill gives them the backing they need to lead their classrooms confidently with this liability protection program offered by the state. Last, by establishing this new teacher pay allotment that's permanent in the Texas budget, we are removing some constraints currently tied to the basic allotment. Altogether, the elements of Senate Bill 26 will foster a budget culture that prioritizes continued raises for teachers in every legislative session going forward, but in removing those restraints and decoupling certain guardrails off of the basic allotment and assuming billions of dollars of teacher compensation separate from that, districts will have the flexibility in their diverse needs to meet other compensation objectives, for instance, for support staff, librarians, nurses, bus drivers, those that work in the cafeteria and janitorial services, and many, many others. As I mentioned before, Governor Abbott has made teacher compensation an emergency item this session, and the Texas Senate is acting as quickly as possible, working as swiftly as possible to deliver on all of our collective goals as we have worked for not just this session, but under the Lieutenant Governor's leadership and many of you advocating day by day through these sessions for the Texas teachers in your districts. We are delivering on these objectives, priorities, and promises. Senate Bill 26 is just the beginning, but it is in and of itself historic in the amount of dollars we're placing in this priority set for our